Here we go. All right. It is episode 3 of the Meta eSports podcast coming to you live on Thursday, November 30th, 2017. My name is Hoodie Colin Morris, joined today by the burly Michael Kinslow. Michael, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Colin?
Doing good, man. I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately.
Playing a lot of Destiny. I know. I've been hearing about it.
Yeah, I've just been grinding for that loot, you know?
Dude, that's what we got to do. Keep digging, man. Keep digging. Keep the grind on.
It's fun. I keep getting the same exotic shotgun, though. It sucks.
Yeah. Playing Warframe, I've run into that issue a few times so far.
I kind of get mad because Destiny kind of changed like the names of what the colors of their stuff is, but like in Hearthstone, blue is rare, purple is
so
epic.
They're not following the convention.
It's just different names. So like legendary, which is the best in Hearthstone, is purple in Destiny.
Yeah. I got you.
But yellow is exotic, so I'm like, I got legendary. Like when you open the pack, when it's like,
all of a sudden,
it's exotic.
You're like, dang it, man. Dang it, man.
How many games of League do you play a day?
Do you want an actual answer to that question? Because I can look it up right now.
Yeah, I want an actual answer to that question.
I'm plugging our podcast on Twitter right now. Give me a second.
Well, that's good.
We gotta plug our stuff. Everybody knows you gotta plug your stuff. All right, it's plugged. All right, so we're gonna go to a very useful website called op.gg, specifically na.op.gg. We're gonna find the profile for the chunkiest of tacos, aka your host. All right, let's see what we got. Chunky taco. So today specifically, let me update it to make sure it's accurate.
Can you give like an average?
It doesn't give me an average, so I'm gonna have to actually count based on like how many hours ago the game was played. So just give me 1 second. So today I played 1, 2, 3, 4. I played 5 games today. Technically 7 games today if you include the ones I played technically last night at like 1 in the morning.
That's impressive.
Which is technically the same day.
Technically it is.
I'll probably play more, so I'll probably get to about 10 a day would be average.
Yeah.
If I'm playing with my friends. If it's just me, I actually don't play League that much. If it's just me, I'm tending to be more on the Warframe or the PUBG these days.
Nice. Well, speaking of League of Legends, lots been going on. There's a couple. We're gonna break down the teams. What happened with the teams? There's been a lot of shakeup with the rosters. Big names going to new places. We're gonna call it the segment's gonna be called "Old Faces in New Places."
Dude, old faces, new places. I think I actually said something like that on something, but
nice.
We think the same way. But yeah, there's crazy stuff going on. I think first
let's do the runes.
Yeah, I want to cover these first because these are changing regardless of whatever happens in the esports portion of it. So the old rune system, the way it worked, right? You had masteries and you had runes. You had to pay for runes. Masteries you earn it through leveling your account from 0 to 30. Max level, you had all your masteries, 18, 12. There's 3 different trees to choose from, blah, blah, blah. Runes, there was all sorts of runes to choose from, but there was very standard pages that were built because it just made sense. They worked for champions. So they completely revamped that. What's going down this season? It's currently in preseason live right now. Runes are now free. Once you're above, I believe, level 8. So if you're just starting out, you have to get to at least level 8 before they let you tinker with the runes on your own. Mm-hmm. But there's, I think it's 4 different rune trees.
So I can just flash at level 8?
That, I don't know if they changed summoner spells yet.
Okay.
Summoner spells might still be the same.
That's not runes. That shows my noobish isms.
There is a rune now, though, that lets you change your summoner spells in game, which is kind of interesting.
Oh.
So it's bonkers what they're trying to do. So there's like 4 main trees. One is called precision, tends to be for more like auto attack heavy 80 carry damage, that kind of stuff. Then there's domination, which seems to be for like assassins and burst mages, that kind of damage. Then there's the sorcery tree, which seems to be for mages / supports, but there's a couple 80 carries actually taking sorcery stuff, and a couple bruisers taking sorcery stuff right now because it's a little overtuned. And then the last 2 pages, 5 pages total. The last 2 are resolve, which is the tank tree. You always got to have a tank tree. And then the last one, I believe, is called inspiration. That's the really weird tree. That's where they put all the crazy stuff, like change your runes in the middle of the game. Your flash has no cooldown. Yeah, that one's weird. It's called hex flash. Basically, you use your flash, and then during the duration your flash is on cooldown, like every 15 seconds, you can use a hex flash, which is a flash, but you have to like channel it instead of it being instantaneous, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that tree contains all sorts of weird things like that, where it's like a hex flash or crazy summoner spell.
More of like a get out if you're like under attack from a ranged opponent. Sounds
not
like
even. It's a little bit of that, but then it also has things like.
Seems like you don't have enough time to cast it if somebody's like right in on you.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Nobody knows like the best way to use hex flash, or is it a gimmick rune that they just threw in there and it's not actually worth it? Because like nobody knows what's good yet. That's the beauty of it only being out for like 2.5 weeks. Nobody knows what's good. But that tree also, instead of just like trying to get away from people, it also has things like biscuits, which give you health and mana. It has a slowing keystone where every auto attack you slow people. There's also crazy stuff. But that's going to be really interesting to look forward to, because no matter what happens when these LCS teams, there was TSM's main owner, Reggie, was actually talking about it in an interview.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what changes, like, yes, every time you change a roster, no matter what sport it is, obviously they have to have time to gel. They have to get used to each other to see if they're going to work out. Because sometimes, you're playing with somebody, you might both be superstars, but you might not work together very well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see that all the time. So he was specifically saying, to the point that I'm bringing up now, no matter what happens with rosters, every single person playing in the NALCS and all the other championship series has to get used to the new runes.
Right.
Like, everybody has to redefine what the meta is.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay,
Shameless plug.
Okay. So next weekend, there's a big Hearthstone tournament, and Kobolds and Catacombs is dropping on Thursday.
Is it going to be available in the tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
They have like 48 hours. Yeah. So like while we have all the football games on this weekend, we're going to be watching Hearthstone at the same time, because the thing is like that's the best way to find out what's good.
Yeah, seeing these guys like pretty much live figure it out themselves too. Like their theory crafting almost on the spot when it's that early. Like that's crazy. Like League of Legends,
all the cards will be released by Tuesday. Like not released, but like shown by Tuesday.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's a big difference between knowing what it says it does and then actually like playing it in a deck and seeing how it reacts. But yeah, so like League of Legends, you get about a month, because I think the regular season starts sometime in January. So they're getting about a month is their time to prepare with all these new runes, because the new runes are going to be live. Right. Unless some crazy bug happens that just breaks the game and they revert it, these new runes are here to stay. So we can probably break those down in another episode, but today is more about the rosters for sure. I did want to mention we do have a new champion in League of Legends.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing it.
Zoe is this little nerdy girl who's technically 1,000,000 years old because she's a celestial being.
All right, I'm down with that.
But she's in the shape of this nerdy little girl, right?
Of course.
Basically, she is insane. Like, so she's right now being played mid and support, mainly mid, but mid and support. She is the same guy who developed the champion Echo is, I believe, the one who developed this champion. So his champions are known for their high mobility. So like Echo has like 1,000,000 dashes and a time rewinding ultimate. So Zoe has a Q. Basically, her Q is if she throws it, the further it travels, the more damage it does, and she can like throw it and then redirect it. So she can like throw it sideways around like a minion wave and then redirect it back into a minion wave, things like that. Her W is the craziest part. They finally introduced like legitimate RNG into League of Legends, which right now is potential outrage because it's League of Legends is so you want to be able to 1v1 somebody like
and everybody have a chance.
So like a lot of players are all on that side. You know, it's this classic debate. It's like, do we want RNG deciding games or do we want player skill deciding games? This is like the first real taste of that League of Legends is getting because her W. So say I'm playing Zoe against you in lane. Say I all in you and you burn your flash and heal to get away. I can then pick your spells up off the ground and use them. So like essentially I can pick up infinite spells in a row and just keep casting summoner spells. As long as they're down there and from like a team fight. It's actually kind of crazy. But the RNG portion of it, because that wouldn't be RNG. That's just
all right. When's the next tournament so I can see this in action?
So the next LCS tournament, which they did confirm Zoe will be available, is All Stars, which is December 7th, and that's in LA. So that's the All-Star tournament. So they're bringing in all the people from around the world who were voted for their All-Star squad. Basically, they make one squad of 5 people per region. And they all come here and they play a tournament as well as a 1v1 tournament.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think last year they even did one where like one player did the mouse and the other player did the keyboard. So, and then they played a game like that. It was kind of it's one of those fun tournaments. So, but Zoe is apparently going to be live there. And then the rest of her kit, her E is a sleep bubble. If it hits you, you go to sleep and you take extra damage the longer it lasts on you. And then her R is a portal that comes out of the ground and it teleports her. But the thing is, she can only, it's not like it teleports her to a spot and she stays there. She comes right back to where she started.
Oh, okay.
So she can't like run away with it necessarily because she always has to come back to where she started from.
Oh, that's cool.
But she's got, it's on a super short cooldown though. So it's like, she's got crazy mobility in terms of like bouncing around a lane. So that's going to be another thing to really look at to see how she plays out once we get back into the tournaments and stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to break down the teams. We're going to spend about 2 to 3 minutes on each team, see who they added, and then see where everybody else went. All right. Breaking it off. We're only doing NA because we live in America.
Yeah. You don't need to talk about that.
And/or Mexico or
Canada and Mexico
or Brazil.
They're in NA. Brazil is not NA. That is Brazil is the South American server.
Okay. Well, we're going to start off with TSM. We'll switch off. Top laner, Hanser. Jungle, Mike Young. Mid, Bjergsen. Carry, Sven. Support, Mithy. Coach, Song.
All right. Then we got Cloud9 coming in with...
Oh, well, no. We'll break down TSM.
You want to break it down? Okay, I thought we were going to go through. All right, yeah. So breaking down this roster, the only returning members from the last 2 years are Hanser and Bjergsen.
Everybody else, brand new.
This season, they got rid of their jungler Svenskeren and their bot lane Double Lift, which was actually kind of surprising. They cut Double Lift, who's generally known as top 3 AD carry in North America, and then Biofrost, otherwise known as Bio Daddy. So those are the 3 that got cut. They bring in from Europe, because Reggie's a scumbag and can't find NA talent. They bring in from Europe the bot lane of G2, Sven, and Mithy. And then to replace Svenskeren in the jungle, they find homegrown NA talent in Mike, get the fuck out of my jungle, Young. This man, I love that. I love Mike Young. That dude, he's one of the players who like he analyzes himself as he plays. So he plays like really high mechanical champions like Lee Sin and Nidalee, like carry champions like that, and then he analyzes every little bit of his game, which is why I think he'll fit into the TSM playstyle. Like if we're gonna compare TSM to like a football team, they're the Patriots. They play a methodical game. They're prepared every week. They're very mechanically
like the Spurs.
Yeah, like they're very mechanically there. They're all really good mechanically. You can rely on them being good players, but they don't play very instinctively. It's all very thought through, like mechanically.
There's not a lot of intuition. There's not there's not a lot of improv. There's no improv.
Those instinctive plays were never there. And Reggie, the owner, said we want to change that a little bit, and because he actually said we want to change that because he said Sven Skjern wasn't gelling because he was too instinctive and not to the book enough. Like TSM's trying to keep it on lock. They're trying to run the ship clean there. And then they actually got a new coach, Coach Song. He's from Korea, so they're trying to see if he can push them to the next level, get out of groups at World. We'll see. But they actually had quite a big shakeup for being the #1 team in NA for the last 3 seasons.
All right, who's next?
All right, we got coming in Cloud9. Their top lane is Licorice. I can never remember which pronunciation
Let's go with Licorice.
I'm going to go with Licorice. I also have a question mark here because the head coach Reaper said they're not actually sure if he's going to be starting yet, but he's the only top laner who's signed to a contract right now.
So he's there. All right.
So plug and play. That's what we're going with right now. Jungler signed for C9 right now are Sven Skjern, who's most likely starting, who was just on TSM. We just talked about him leaving TSM. And then they actually signed Wiggly. I don't know much about Wiggly. I know he's pretty high on the solo queue ladder.
Must love Pokemon.
Yeah, he must. But other than that, he's high on the solo queue ladder. I don't know much about Wiggly. The rest of the roster is the exact same though. We got Jensen in the mid lane, Sneaky and Smoothie in the bot lane with Coach Reaper backing him up.
How far? So these are the two titans of the last couple seasons of the NA.
Yeah.
I mean, TSM, Cloud9, that's what you think about when you think about NA when it comes to Worlds. Who put themselves in a better place to be better than they were last year?
Right. Like, I am a C9 fan, so I'm a little biased, but I honestly think TSM did a better job in the offseason. Like, you see how much they lost. Like, they lost Doublelift and Biofrost, who were arguably like a top 2 bottom lane in the entire league. But when you look at what C9 did, they lost Impact, who was like the rock in the top lane. You know, Impact won a world championship with SKT back in the day. They lost Impact. They lost Ray, their sub in the top lane. He's still questionable to come back, but he's most likely gone. So you bring in Licorice, who all he is he's like Wiggly, like I was saying. I don't know much about him besides the fact that he played on a Challenger Series team, and he's usually pretty high in solo queue. The rest of the bringing in Sven Skjern, I think, actually works really well for C9's favor, but the top lane is going to be an issue. If Licorice doesn't perform at least mediocre to like good, he doesn't have to be great, but if he's not performing at least, you know, like okay, that's going to be the super weak point that people try and expose on that roster. So I think overall TSM did a better job of re-strengthening their core group.
Well, then here's the team that everybody is saying WTF. Where? Why? Like what?
Paid by Steve, baby.
Like Team Liquid, the new Avengers of League of Legends. Top lane, we got Impact, Jungle, Smithy, mid, Pobelter, 80 carry, Doublelift, and support. Is it Ollie?
Ole.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
And then their coach is Kane. What? How? What? Where? These people.
The craziest part is that I didn't even bother typing the other 400 people on this roster because there's so many people on this roster right now. These are the projected starters, but like the guy who owns Liquid, Steve, he's got some Disney money in his back pocket, and he was just throwing it everywhere, man. I'll throw it down here real fast. One thing he did that was really cool though. So Immortals, the third team to go to Worlds this year from NA, did not get accepted back into the NALCS. So what Steve did is he actually bought out their contracts. so they could leave on favorable terms money-wise. And then he's now they're just free agents. He's helping them find teams as free agents. So that was a cool move by Steve, like buying out their contracts and
way to go, Steve. So can this team is this team better than Cloud9 and TSM?
So right now, like we haven't hit the other teams yet, but this is top 3 for me. I mean, if it's not Liquid TSM in the final, then it's either Liquid TSM, C9, or CLG in my opinion. But right now, Liquid is looking, in my opinion, like the strongest possible team.
Great segue, Michael. Take us to CLG.
Boom, right into CLG. So top lane, we got Darshan is still on the team. Jungle,
Darshan.
we brought in Rainover. They kept Omar God, who was their backup last year.
What is this we-ness?
Oh, did I say we? Whatever.
You said we. You got a secret crush on CLG?
Ben does. Ben is a CLG fan. That's probably where that came from. But so they bring in Rainover. They keep Omar God, who was their backup jungler. Huhi Stixay still staying strong. And then they brought in Biofrost, who TSM released. And coach is still Zix. So this roster really honestly doesn't change too. The biggest change here is that Afromu is gone and Biofrost is in. We still don't know why Afromu left. I don't, whether it was a money thing, whether he just wasn't gelling with the CLG guys anymore. We don't actually know why he decided. Like his contract was up, so he was a legitimate free agent, but we're not sure why he really didn't give CLG a chance to re-sign him. Because
interesting things to find out over the season.
Yeah, we still have a couple interesting moves that we need to look at because he's technically signed to a roster. He has said he's signed Afromu, that is, but we don't know where yet. So he's on a roster. It just has not been officially announced. So that was the biggest change. The next biggest change is the jungle. They bring in Rainover because Omar God was okay. A couple good, plays here and there, but just okay. So they're hoping Rainover can get back into form when he was on Fnatic, and they, I'm pretty sure he was on Fnatic when they won Worlds. Possibly. When him and Huni were on the Fnatic squad, that Fnatic squad was dominating EU. So they're hoping Rainover can get back to that. And then the rest of the squad's solid around him with Darshan, Huhi, and Stixay still sticking around. So CLG is still going to be a top team in NA.
Well, then we're coming up on Echo Fox.
Echo Fox, baby. So
we got top laner Huni, question mark. Jungle, Dardoch, and Gringe. Mid, Phoenix. Phoenix? Is it Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix.
80 carry, Altec. Support, Adrian. Coach, we got Inero. Seen Echo Fox play a couple of times. They're pretty. They're not conventional as opposed to the normal.
Yeah, no.
As opposed to the, TSM. But
for those who don't know, the owner of Echo Fox is Rick Fox, the former LA Laker. So that he was the first of the next basically all basketball teams to get into the NALCS. This roster for me is weird because it's if Huni does sign, the top lane's golden. They're fine. The top lane will be fine. He's not technically signed yet, but that seems to be all the directions are pointing to that. Dardoch in the jungle.
You got your sources?
My sources, baby. I got my sources. I'm like Adam Schefter over here. I got my sources. Dardoch in the jungle, I think will work really well with Huni. They're both super aggressive players. So I think this team is going to be playing around the top side of the map, unlike a lot of teams who play through mid or the bot side. Most teams tend to leave their top laner on an island and just say, you go do what you need to do and we'll, do what we do. I think this one's going to be the exact opposite. I think the bot lane is going to be by themselves, and then there's a lot of focus coming to the top side. Phoenix is a weird mid laner, depending on whatever the meta is. If the champions he plays, like if Azir is in meta, Orianna's in meta, Victor's in meta, Phoenix is a really good player. If those champions aren't in the meta, you kind of see Phoenix falter. This one really might depend on how well he gels with people and how well the meta sets it up for his champion pool. The bot lane's going to be okay. Altec and Adrian, neither one's a superstar, but They both hold their own. I mean, they've both been in the LCS for a million years, basically, at this point. So they'll both hold their own in the bot lane. I think the biggest question mark is if Phoenix is really going to perform for this team.
Helps bring the team together when you don't have to worry about your mid laner.
Right.
You just let him do him.
So after them, we're coming in with FlyQuest. So their current roster is Flame in the top lane. He's a Korean import. He was on Immortals last season. Then we got Anda in the jungle. I'm pretty sure he came off of a Challenger Series team this year. I don't know much about him.
Good for him.
So if he did get promoted, good job. Good job. We always need to see more NA talent coming out of promotions. Their mid laner is Fly. They just confirmed that today or yesterday. And then the bottom lane is Wild Turtle and Stunt. That's a decent bottom lane.
I like Wild Turtle.
Not going to blow your mind, but it's a solid bottom lane. Like they're not going to be wrecking people, but they'll hang in there, even against the better bot lanes.
No coach.
This coach, yeah, I could not find any info on this coach. Like before the show, you were sitting there like, what are you doing? I was like, I couldn't find any info on the coach yet. That one is, I don't know if it's the same coach from last year. To be honest, I don't even know who it is, who the coach was last year. So you're fired. But this seems like,
so is this a team that's just fighting to be relevant?
Honestly, I have them in the bottom half.
Yeah.
I don't even see them in the middle of the pack. Like I'm looking more bottom, trying to get into the middle. I mean, I just don't see, like, Flame is a good top laner, but I just don't see him being able to carry the rest of the team. Like Fly and Anda in mid and jungle are the biggest question marks there. I just don't know if the rest of it's good enough to carry them through.
We'll see how that works out.
So
we got 100 Thieves coming up next. Top, we got Someday, jungle, Medios, mid, Ryu, 80 carry, question mark, Cody Sun, support, question mark, Afro Moo, coach, we got Prawley. What's up with the question marks?
So this is their bot lane is not confirmed yet. Neither one is confirmed, but everything that I've seen is pointing towards those two players. We just talked about Afro Moo. He said he signed somewhere, but we don't know where yet. And then Cody Sun is in the same boat. So that's what the question marks are there for. That seems like the most likely possibility, but I guess anything could still happen with all the openings that are in EU right now. So top lane, you got Someday. He came from Korea, just like Flame at the beginning of last year. So he'll hold his own in the top lane. Medios is coming back to the NALCS finally. The old C9 jungler. He played on P1 for a little bit, but he is making his way back. He is the jungler for 100 Thieves. And I'm pretty sure 100 Thieves is the Cavs team.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that's the Cavs team. Ryu in the mid lane. Ryu is a hit or miss mid laner. He either steamrolls or gets steamrolled. It's a very interesting dynamic with Ryu in the mid lane. Overall, I think this roster is 10 times better than the FlyQuest roster. I have these guys middle of the pack right now. Definitely not pushing top 4, but middle of the pack is where I'm seeing them sit at.
All right. Talk about the Golden Guardians.
Alrighty, so Golden Guardians, baby. This is
the Golden State Warriors team.
This is Colin's team, baby. All right, so they take Lorlo off of Team Liquid to be their top laner. They somehow in hell stole my jungler contracts. That man, all he does is watch anime and play League of Legends. That's all he does. He was a part of C9. He was the meme team dream jungler, and you stole him away somehow. I don't know how the hell it happened, but he's gone. You also
in Oakland,
probably, and some cash. Who knows? He actually, interestingly enough, said in about a week or two he's going to release more information about why he moved. So we'll see if there was some sort of like drama in the C9 house or something. I don't know. But you also stole the mid laner of FlyQuest and former C9 player High. That's an interesting pickup. So High was actually like pretty much the founder, one of the founding players of C9 and FlyQuest. He is, for those who don't know the history of like League of Legends, High is one of the most tenured players. He's pretty much played since season 1 kind of deal. So it's interesting. You got an old man in the mid lane, but he's still pretty damn good at League of Legends.
He's 28 years old.
Right?
Probably.
I don't even know if he's 28. He's probably not even 28 yet, dude. He's probably like 22. But then your bot lane, the bot lane on this team is where the question marks
type
come
in
from.
high, it says lol girlfriend.
Dude,
he's born in 92, dude. He's 25.
Dude, his girlfriend's smoking though if you finish that Google search. But so the bot lane on this one is going to be.
He put her on stream. What a savage,
dude! They always do that.
Sat her there on. That's not right.
You got to fish for viewers any way you can.
That's not right. All right, next team. I'm over it.
All right, well, let me finish out this one. So the bot lane here is the question mark. Definitely and Matt. Matt was the old support for Liquid, and basically the only champion I've ever seen him play really well is Bard. Everything other than Bard, he's average. And definitely, I don't actually know that crazy much about. So that's going to be my the question marks for me. The rest of the map, I think they're good. If the bot lane can perform, this is a middle of the pack team.
All right. Now we got Optic Gaming, top, Zig, jungle, Acadian, mid, Power of Evil, ADC, Arrow, no relation. Support, Lemon Nation. Wow, that rhymed. Coach, Zabutin. Sounds like a rejected Star Wars planet. Middle of the pack team. Lower tier
this
team.
One I have. It's just like, when you look at this team on paper, it's like a bunch of misfits that they threw together and said, hey, go have fun. Because it's like, Arrow is probably the best player on that entire team, but the rest of them are just consistently okay. Like, Zig is okay, but he gets outclassed by the actually good top laners. Like, if Zig ever goes to Worlds, he's going to get his ass crushed. Like, but in NA against some of the other players, he's fine, unless it's like Hanser or Impact. Acadian is a hit or miss jungler. Some games he pops off, some games he doesn't. Power of Evil was the Misfits Gaming mid laner. He's the one that tried to take down Faker. And actually almost succeeded in taking down Faker. But again, he's like a hit or miss player. Sometimes he's like really hot, sometimes he's not. And then Lemon Nation is like the oldest man of all. He's also like, he's like me. He doesn't have very much hair and he's got a red beard. So take what you will from that. But I have them just because it's like so much, like I said, misfits put together. I have them bottom of the pack team. I just don't see how they can beat the top tier teams. I honestly don't.
All right, Michael. Last team.
That brings us into the final team, Clutch Gaming, who I'm pretty sure is the Houston Rockets team.
Yes.
They had some other name. It was like Clutch Factor Gaming or something like that.
That's lame.
But they switched it to just Clutch Gaming. So top lane, they got Solo, Jungle, Lyra. Mid, they got the Febvin coming over from EU. And then Apollo and Hakuo are taking it in the bot lane. So this roster is basically made up of Team Envy, who got kicked out.
Right. We talked about that before, that they were going to find a home, and here they are.
So here they are. It's the only difference is Solo and Febvin. So Lyra, Apollo, Hakuo, all Envy. And Envy was like middle of the pack with their full roster. So depending on if Febvin and Solo can play to the same level as the old Envy roster, these guys will be fighting for middle of the pack. I still don't see these guys really. They might take a game or two off the top teams, but they're middle of the pack at best. So that pretty much finishes it out. The biggest things are still the mainstays are TSM, C9, Liquid, and CLG are still the big four.
Well, that brings us from League of Legends to Overwatch, which is my esport of choice minus the Hearthstone. Overwatch getting Contenders League news. So Overwatch League, Contenders is basically your minor league, your G League. And we're getting a lot of news out of it that one of the top players from the Overwatch World Cup is going to be on a Contenders team for New York. Michael, why would they put the best player from the World Cup on their second best team?
Because they're crazy. Like we talked about this a little bit before the show. They either have like some crazy talent in store, or there's some like marketing stunt going on I just don't see why you bench talent like that unless you have somebody just even better in under reps. It just really doesn't make sense to me because you'd think you'd want to have the best roster possible, not start a guy in the middle of the season after you tanked, even if it is a crazy hype storm in the middle of the season. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, so the entire New York team is Korean. It's Janice, Mono, Miko, Pines. Okay, never mind. There's actually really good people on this team. So they're just storing him up and waiting to bring him in when somebody messes up. But I was just starting to think, why would you do the second league in your first year? I feel like you should just focus all the attention on this. But you can still put the Contenders League on Disney XD, which is what they've been doing. So in this sense, they're winning because they're putting talent on Disney XD, which is more eyes.
Yeah.
I'll watch it if he's playing. That.
I mean, it's similar to what NA does in League. The scouting grounds are coming up. It seems like it's going to be kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
/ minor league. Like scouting grounds is definitely not a minor league, but it seems like it might be similar in what they're trying to get out of it. Just more face time for these players. But I feel like I think we're on the same page here. I don't know why you try and do a minor league in year one. It seems like
I feel like you shouldn't have restrictions to a point, but
I mean, obviously you don't want to restrict yourself. You want to do everything, but at the same time, it's if you do everything, all of a sudden your mouth is full and you can't.
You're telling me there's not a spot for this kid on somebody else's team just for this season? We couldn't have our first loan, right? If you want to be a real sports league, let them loan them out for the year.
Loan them out, or do they not have
come back and crush them?
Can they just not have sub spots? Are the sub spots already full, or just not have sub spots? I mean, it's kind of weird. Because League of Legends, I think you can have as many subs as you want. It's just certain tournaments you can only have a certain number active.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these teams have 10 players on them, even though half of them never play. They have them, so you think they might be able to do something like that, but it's just I don't want to see them bite off more than they can chew, and then the main product is worse because of it.
Right, because we're thinking, it kind of gives you a sense of maybe they will. Maybe they'll bring them up. They have other options, so they're not just limited, and you're kind of screwed if you're stuck with what you got. So there's positives and negatives.
There's positives and negatives. It's like that, Thanksgiving dinner. You want a little bit of everything, but when you take that one giant mouthful of everything, you never get the best of one thing.
That was deep.
That was deep, right?
That was deep.
Right after Thanksgiving too.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with Overwatch. Everything's coming up quickly. The preseason's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But next week, Hearthstone expansion is coming out. I'm particularly excited. We got a couple new things coming out. Every class is getting a weapon. And I will be sharing this particular screen with the audience and everyone. So, Michael, there's this new card.
That seems like a couple of new cards.
Called the First Seal. So when you play it, you get it again, and then again, and again, and again. And then the last card you get there, destroy your opponent's deck.
What the fuck?
Destroy your opponent's deck.
You
know how long this would take? This is a Warlock card, so there's I'm pretty sure there are no cards that decrease the value of spells.
Yeah, I don't think there are in Warlock decks.
Okay, and so then you think that's great. Okay, so you have to play this. You have to play Ren the First Disciple, which a 3/6 for 6 sucks, and then gives you a 5-cost spell, and you're like, well, this sucks. It just seems very slow. We're in a very fast car. We're in a very fast meta right now. And I'm skipping up because there's one card that you just have to see. Take a look at Temporis.
Your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns.
What?
What the?
This is ridiculous.
Dude, that card would actually be funny in a mill deck.
Yes,
Just to troll people, like
yeah, just
you
feed
burn
them
through all their cards, then you make them eat two draws.
Yeah, and then oh man, imagine that you like throw down like a Kazakus.
Yeah,
You get that big spell from Kazakus.
dude.
And
You
then
know
you
what
can
else
play
would
it
be
the
good
next
with
turn
that
because
one?
you can play Kazakus, coin this. Whew.
Yeah. I feel like this would also be really good on maybe like if you're playing some sort of like a freeze mage or something like that, where like you
Definitely.
completely like stop their first turn.
Okay. This
You-
one
you
is
see-
crazy.
Like I think that could work out too.
Geosculptor Yip, which reads, at the end of your
Turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor.
Dude. That could be
What?
crazy. So up to 10. Okay, so it can't be just absurdly abundant.
Right. I
But,
mean, card costs only go to 11 and then straight up to 25.
yeah. That's crazy.
Okay.
So Ben on the YouTube thing was like that when they bringing out Exodia.
Oh, Blitter! That's basically Exodia.
Dude, that's basically what that
basically
five-
just like
that's what
drawn
the-
out Exodia
yeah,
minus
that's
having to
what that
hold all
is.
the cards. But they already have so there's a Paladin Death Knight card that came out in the last expansion that that if you use your hero power 4 times and all 4 of these horsemen get on the board, you win the game. So like you've
That's
brought
crazy.
Apocalypse on the board.
Dude, you just bring out the
Check out Zola, the Gorgon. Choose a
3/2.
friendly minion, add a golden copy of it to your hand.
Yeah, Michael, I'll take Christmas gifts in the form of BattleNet balances
right.
for all the new cards. Oh, and then King Togwaggle, swap decks with your opponent, give them a random spell a ransom spell to swap.
Dude, that's great because like if
That
they don't
shit
don't
cray.
draw that, does it put
Ain't
the
it,
spell
Jay?
in their deck or their hand?
Oh, okay. It replaces their decks. You swap decks with
No,
your
I'm
opponent.
saying
So you
it
keep your
says-
hand. You keep your hand.
Well, I'm just saying it says give them a ransom spell to swap it back.
right. So I
Does
assume it
that
would
put it in their hand or the deck?
I assume it would go in the deck.
Because that's crazy. Because if they don't draw that card till like last,
Oh my god.
that could be crazy.
Okay, and then so they put in Marin the fox.
Yeah.
And he summons an 08 chest to the opponent's side of the field, and if you destroy it, you can get this. And it says, so you can get the Golden Kobold, which is a worse version of the Golden Monkey, and it replaces your hand with legendary minions.
Okay.
And then Zarog's Crown, discover a legendary minion, summon 2 copies of it. Like, come on. This one's crazy. The draw 3 cards, reduce their cost to 0.
That is actually crazy.
You get some crazy stuff for 0, man.
You could
Especially,
just-
I'm playing
you could
this
just-
big druid deck that is like.
Seriously, you can just pack your deck with 8 drops.
Let's take a look. Oh, this one's kind of crazy. The Paladin Legendary. Cast each spell you cast on your minions this game on this one card. So everything you've ever casted on anything gets casted on this, which is pretty wild.
So you got to be careful. See, if you kill one of your own minions,
Right.
that could be bad.
Okay, so they haven't released the other Mage Legendary.
At the end of your turn, draw 3 cards, and that's a weapon.
I mean, yeah. So that's how they're doing it.
Damn, you can get a lot of cards in a mage deck right now. Holy hell!
Yeah. Then they're doing this new thing called Recruit, where you draw where a card comes out of your deck. Yeah, this one's crazy. The Death Rattle gain 10 mana crystals for the druid weapon.
Is that for duration or is that for just one turn?
Yeah, that's for duration. So it's
Oh
like
my god!
so imagine that you
could what, like innervate coin this thing out turn 2?
innervate coin. No, because they changed innervate to 1 cost.
Oh,
So on turn 2, you could play.
you could play.
Yeah. On
Yeah,
turn 2. Yeah,
you
turn
could play
2.
this. Yeah.
Innervate coin. And then
Turn 3 have full mana crystals.
yeah. Or I mean, there's plenty of cards now that like destroy your weapon or like But the fastest thing that you would want to do probably is
Well, I guess you wouldn't get it on turn 3 because the weapon has to die.
right. So my thought process is then that you ramp up and then come to you ramp up and then you get up to so you play your Wild Growths, you play your Jade Golems, your Jade card that does the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you play this, and then you drop Medivh, and then it bumps you straight up to 10.
Yeah.
And then you play the new 10 cost spell, Ultimate Infestation, from the last pack, from the last expansion, that deals 5 damage, summons a 5/5, gains 5 armor, and you draw 5 cards. And then if you have the Medivh weapon, you summon a 10 cost minion.
Drew, that's some crazy. Like, and we thought, what was the old what was it? You'd summon the Trents.
Oh, yeah.
Back when that was still the thing, and we thought that was bad. Druids could get crazy.
Yeah, playing a Hearthstone tournament this weekend, so I'm going to try to use that Druid magic. But
dude, we'll see how it goes. I'll be there. I'll be rooting.
Yeah, we got a little bit of college football, and we're playing each other in fantasy football.
We are playing each other in fantasy football. Not esports related. It is esports. It's fantasy football an esport? It is a question. That is a.
We'll have to ask Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, we need to tweet him that one. That's a good question, actually.
It takes no skill. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Christine Levy with the news. Sorry. Watch a lot of that.
We'll ask Matt Berry. See what he thinks about it.
Oh, man. Matt Berry has just been on. Man, poor dude. Works so much. I think that'll do it.
Yeah,
we covered a lot of stuff. Michael, I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I'm sure we will dive into these rosters again once the season actually starts on up.
Yep. We'll be back soon. You can find me at _C Morris. You can find him at Chunky Taco. This has been episode 3 of the Meta. Thanks for stopping by. Stay classy. And, just mess up the meta if you're playing video games.
Yeah.
Don't stick to the meta.
It's preseason right now in League. Don't stick to the meta.
Whatever
Make your own meta. Go experiment.
Go meme.
Yeah,
all right, we're leaving now. We're leaving. Okay, bye.
Peace.